I want to talk to you about personal lines of credit for a fair credit that checked Equifax this year. Let's have a conversation about that. So here are the major banks I want you to pay attention to. Number one, I want you to think about Truist Bank. So Truist Bank has a personal line of credit for a fair credit that checks Equifax, okay? And their threshold, if you will, is actually 600. So they want you to have 600. And once you actually have a FICO score of 600, you can qualify for a personal line of credit for a fair credit from Truist Bank. Now, the cool thing about Truist Bank is that you have a lot of possibilities, okay? But the maximum you can actually get from Truist Bank in terms of personal line of credit is $100,000. The minimum is actually $5,000. So you have $5,000 all the way to $100,000. And the cool thing about Truist Bank is that you have the possibility to actually have a soft pull. So depending on the state you're in, you can actually either apply in person, or you can have a soft pull via the app, the Truist app, or via the website. Okay. So the cool thing is you have a zero application and cash advance. So they're not really charging you anything, and the APR is kind of decent too. You're looking at starting APR of 13%. Okay. So the cool thing about Truist is that they will approve you real fast, usually within 24 to 48 hours. So that's actually what you have to really think about, okay? So if you're interested, you want to call 844-487-8478. 844-487-8478. And that's really good. And also, if you're looking for a personal line of credit for fair credit from Truist, you have the possibility to also apply for a secured line of credit. What I just told you, that's actually an unsecured line of credit. Okay, $5,000 to $100,000, but you also have a secure line of credit that starts from $25,000 and can go all the way to $1 million. You also have the Truist Ready Now credit line that gives you an overdraft protection from $300 to $7,500, and you also have at Truist you have a physician line of credit, and here you have a maximum line amount of $50,000. And that can go all the way to $250,000. If you are looking for a personal line of credit for a fair credit that checks Equifax, I want you to think about Fifth Third Bank. And Fifth Third Bank is actually a great bank. I mean, it's not as geographically strong as Truist Bank, but it's still strong anyway, okay? So Fifth Third Bank actually allows you to, Fifth Third is really generous when it comes to their unsecured line of credit. So this is kind of, their line of credit is kind of similar to what Truist Bank has, in the sense that they are giving you anywhere from $5,000 all the way to $100,000. The FICO score they will consider for the specific line of credit is 625. 625, not a problem. You can really get the line of credit, not a problem. Now, one thing, there's one caveat that you have to remember. To get the unsecured line of credit, Fifth Third Bank wants you to have up to 10% of verified liquid assets. Liquid means what? Liquid means that they're highly, quickly monetizable, okay? And so with the Fifth Third Bank, you have a 5-year draw period, followed by a 10-year repayment period. So that's kind of cool because it gives you flexibility to actually organize your budget. And the APR actually goes from 10% all the way to 13%. There is a $65 annual fee. Now they will waive the fee the first year, but the subsequent year they'll charge you $65. Okay, and funds are available via online transfer, checks, phone, or in branch. So that's kind of cool. So that's for the unsecured line of credit. And Truist also has a secured line of credit where they can approve you from $5,000 all the way to $500,000. Okay, of course, the amount will depend on the value of the underlying security, right? Because if you want to collateralize the line of credit, you got to have the proper value for the collateral. So if you have any question, you want to call 1-866-671-5353. 1-866-671-5353 if you're interested in having a Fifth Third personal line of credit. If you're looking for a personal line of credit for fair credit that checks Equifax, I want you to really think about KeyBank. KeyBank is a pretty strong institution, actually stronger than Fifth Third Bank in some respects. And the cool thing about Fifth Third Bank is that you have a lot of possibilities, a lot of options with this line of credit. So at Fifth Third, you have a pretty interesting setup because they call it the preferred line of credit. Okay, they're not as generous as let's say a Truist Bank or a Fifth Third Bank because KeyBank is giving you a maximum line of credit of $25,000. But in terms of FICO score, they will consider you if you have a FICO score minimum of 600. 600 to 610, that's what they look at. In terms of the line of credit itself, you have $2,000 all the way to $25,000, okay? And there is actually, the APR goes from 7% all the way to 17%. So that's pretty good in terms of flexibility. There is no annual fee. There is no collateral needed. This is actually an unsecured line of credit, okay? But just remember that this is actually let's say a small amount. I mean, relatively small amount, $2,000 to $25,000. And you also with KeyBank, you have the geo restriction problem. I mean, that's not a problem, but it is just something to really account for, right? Because you have to live in the states where they're at. Otherwise, you can't qualify for their personal line of credit, okay? So KeyBank is actually available in the following states. So they're available in Arkansas, Colorado, Connecticut, Idaho, Indiana, Massachusetts, Maine, Michigan, New York, Ohio, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Utah, Vermont, or Washington State. Let me repeat. You have Arkansas. You have, sorry, not Arkansas. You have Alaska, Colorado, Connecticut, Idaho, Indiana, Massachusetts, Maine, Michigan, New York, Ohio, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Utah, Vermont, and Washington State. Okay. You also have a key basic personal line of credit. Actually, that will help you with overdraft protection. Okay. And the amounts are smaller though. You have $250 all the way to $5,000. So that's kind of cool anyway. I mean, if you don't need all the way to $25,000, you can just go for an overdraft protection line of credit with KeyBank. If you're looking for a personal line of credit, fair credit that checks Equifax, I want you to really think about BMO Harris Bank. And the cool thing about BMO Harris is that BMO actually is a subsidiary of one of the largest Canadian banks, BMO. And the cool thing about BMO Harris is that they actually have expanded their geographic footprint with the acquisition last year of a bank in California, Bank of the West. Okay, so nowadays BMO actually is one of the top tier, the top banks in the mid-tier market, kind of similar to KeyBank, similar to PNC, similar to US Bank, similar to Truist Bank. Okay, so with BMO Harris, you have a line of credit that goes all the way to $50,000. Okay, and so you are able to get things done real fast. And the cool thing also about BMO Harris is that they approve you within 24 hours. So if you're looking for a personal line of credit for fair credit that checks Equifax, go with BMO. BMO will consider your application if you have a FICO score of 610 minimum. FICO score of 610. That's when they'll start looking at your application. And what you will love with BMO is that not only do they approve you real fast, they also allow you to apply at the bank, okay, via the app, online, or over the phone. And the APR is kind of decent too. You're looking at a minimum APR of 8.24%, okay? And you can use the cash for everything. I mean, BMO is really flexible in terms of allowing you to use the cash as you see fit. So you can use the cash for a home improvement, large expense. You can use it for debt consolidation, vehicle repair, refinancing, establishing credit, or even building credit. Okay, that's really something to really think about. So the thing is that BMO actually it's better to start the conversation by actually going to a branch if you can, or just call the bank and talk to a rep, explain the goal, why you want to apply for a personal line of credit. And so the number is 1-888-340-2265. 1-888-340-2265. So if you're looking for a personal line of credit, fair credit that checks Equifax, I want you to think about Santander Bank. And Santander Bank is really a great bank that you have to consider because, first of all, their FICO score is a low 590, so they really are looking at you at the borderline between bad credit and fair credit, so 590. And Santander also is kind of similar to BMO in the sense that they actually approve real fast, okay? And so they will approve you within 24 to 48 hours. So that's really good. And with Santander, you have the possibility to pre-qualify for this personal line of credit. Not a lot of banks will allow you to pre-qualify for a personal line of credit or even for a personal loan. But Santander is actually will work with you, so you can check your rates and available line of credit amount in minutes with no impact to your credit score through the Santander mobile app, the Santander website, or even over the phone, okay? If you're interested in talking to someone over the phone, you can call 1-833-SAN-LOAN, SAN, loan, LOAN, 1-833-SAN-LOAN. And they're available from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern, okay, Monday through Friday, so that's really fantastic. And with Santander, if you are interested in getting a personal line of credit for fair credit, there are no origination fees, no closing fees, no prepayment penalties, okay? And you have lines of credit from $5,000 all the way to $50,000. Now, usually with Santander, it's just better to go to a branch because they don't have proper information about the line of credit on their website. But if you go to a branch, they'll explain everything to you. There is a possibility to actually even apply for a loan. And once you are approved for a loan, you can convert the loan into a personal line of credit. So Santander will do it for you. That's not a problem at all for them. They do this all the time, okay? But just remember that with Santander, you have a geo restriction problem, right? Because Santander is not available in all states. They're usually available in the, let's say, in the on the East Coast, but also in Florida. So let me give you the states where they're actually present. They are in Arizona, California, Connecticut, Colorado, Washington, D.C., Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Indiana, Massachusetts, Maryland, Maine, Michigan, Minnesota, Montana, North Carolina, New Jersey, New Hampshire, New York, Ohio, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Tennessee, Texas, Vermont, Virginia, or Washington State. So that's kind of cool. I mean, in terms of geographic coverage. So one thing I want to say here is that when you think about the personal line of credit for fair credit that checks Equifax, it's important. So those are the top five, the top five lenders that you have to really understand. Okay, but let me talk to you a little bit about your strategy. What you need to really have if you are trying to get the best line of credit. Okay, what you want to do first is to always try to understand that you want to really look for a soft pull process. I mean, if you can pre-qualify, that's really good. You want to pre-qualify, try to really pre-qualify because you want to really take care of your FICO score. You want to preserve your FICO score. And so if you can pre-qualify, not a problem. Now, understand too, though, that a personal line of credit is different from a personal loan in the sense that a personal line of credit gives you access to the cash on a regular basis, on an ongoing basis. In other words, you use it, you pay for it. I mean, you repay it, and then the funds are available once again. Okay, so it's one of those things where it's kind of similar to a credit card, but the only difference is that a personal line of credit is actually cash you can actually withdraw. It's a revolving line. Okay, so that's really important for you to really understand that you need to have this sort of clarification in your head And you can use actually a line of credit for a lot of things. You can actually use a line of credit to even consolidate debt. Yeah. If you have good rates, if you have a good lender, you can actually consolidate debt with a line of credit. Okay. It doesn't take that long to actually get a personal line of credit. If you get a good bank, you could probably get a line of credit within 24 to 48 hours. It's even better if you have a relationship with the bank. So you want to start with the bank where you are at. That will help you big time, especially when it comes to understanding what works and what doesn't work. Okay, and that's what you want to have. You want to have a clear idea about what works and what doesn't work. But remember though that when you think about a personal line of credit, you want to pay attention to the origination fee, the application fee, the late payment fee, the annual or monthly fee, and also the transaction fee. Because the last thing you want is to actually lose all your cash in all those fees. And if you don't really pay attention, you might be actually paying a lot of fees. So that's one of those things where you want to pay attention to that. So if you are looking for a personal line of credit for fair credit that checks Equifax, it's important to understand that everything starts with your Equifax credit score, right? So you want to check your Equifax credit score. Check it. Make sure that everything is fine. There are no derogatory items. There are no invalid items. There are no, let's say, inappropriate items, okay, or incorrect items. And the cool thing is that you have the possibility to check your credit score when you go to a website called annualcreditreport.com, and you can actually do this once a year for free, okay? But for the rest of the time, you can actually get your FICO score for free, actually through other means, maybe your credit card statements, for instance. Your bank also, there are a lot of banks nowadays that will give you access to your credit score for free. And once you actually you're pretty clear about your FICO score, you want to review your budget, okay? It's one of those things where you can't really apply for a personal line of credit for fair credit, and you basically have no idea how this is going to impact your budget. The question is, can you afford it? Can you afford the repayment? I mean, a line of credit is different from a personal loan, granted. However, you still have to repay a certain amount, right? So when you tap into the cash, you have to repay the amount. And the question is, can you afford it? Can your budget afford that? And you also, once you review your budget, you want to research the lenders, right? From Fifth Third to KeyBank to Santander to BMO to Truist. The question is, which one can you actually can you go with in terms of cost, in terms of options? And again, I want to really say what I said before. You want to go with a lender where you currently bank. It's just a lot easier to actually go to your bank and actually get a line of credit there because they know you. They've seen your transactional flow. They've seen your inflows and they've seen your cash inflows and cash outflows. So they might be willing to approve you a lot faster. So those are things you want to pay attention to. So once you've done that sort of legwork, you can apply for your line of credit after pre-qualifying whatever possible, right? Doing the soft pull, you can apply for your line of credit and you can start borrowing. So this is pretty straightforward. So in conclusion, in today's conversation, I spoke to you about personal lines of credit for fair credit that check Equifax. And basically, the major banks include Truist Bank, Fifth Third Bank, KeyBank, BMO Harris Bank, and finally, Santander Bank. Thank you so much. God bless you. I will see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.